Let's keep it simple. Bev, show us how you can make a simple costume for kids.
Okay. Choose a fabric, whether it's plain or colored, and choose 2 yards. This particular one is going to be involving 2 yards, which is going to look like this. Your piece of fabric to begin with, this is cut out of course, but it will be 36 inches by 72. Okay? All right, take that and fold it in half this way. Lay it on a table or the floor. Find the middle point, which is right here. Mark it. You will need a measuring ruler or a tape. And you measure down 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and cut just a slit. The back will be complete. That's all you want on the back. The front, continue the cutting until you're maybe 5.5 inches or 6 inches, enough to get over the head. Then measure down about 8 inches on the side of your fabric, and you make a mark. Then you go in about 3 inches, and that will be your sleeve, and you make another mark. From that second mark, you cut the entire 3 inches completely down to the hem or the bottom part of your double fabric. Do that on each side. Then turn it inside out, or right sides together. Some fabrics will fray, and you can see these will fray quite easily. You may want to serge it if you have a serger, or use a pinking shears, but if not, if your fabric won't fray, don't do anything to it. Okay, got these 2 sides together. You just make 1 stitch, about 1/2 inch. You start here at the sleeve, and you go around and you sew completely down this side. Do the same thing on the other side. And turn it inside out again. It will be sewn together, and you have your costume. Now, the little strips that you have here on the sides that you have extra, you could sew together and make a belt if you wish.
How do you make a simple headpiece so that you can get it on and get it off very quickly while you just come up from the audience and come into the drama?
Okay.
Show us how.
This is Ethan, and Ethan, I'm going to show you how to put a headdress with your outfit that Bev just made. First of all, you measure Ethan's head, and it's about 22 inches. So you take a plain piece of material, and you cut a rectangle, and you measure and add 10 inches to his 22. So you've got a 32-inch wide strip, and then you take and cut the length of it about 23 or 24 inches. Then you take your plain piece of material and you cut in on each side, and I'll show you how you do that, leaving 10 inches on this side and 10 inches on this side. So you've got 22 inches in the center. What I've done here is I've folded it over. This is polyester, and I've sewed the stitches on it, but you can also just make it plain and just make it as ragged as you'd like. But then you take the headdress and you put it on Ethan, and you tie it around the back. Tell me if it's too tight, babe. How's that feel? Good. Okay. And there you've got your shepherd boy. As easy as pie.
Arlene, show us another technique on how you can simply make costumes that work for Bible characters.
Well, this is totally easy and very versatile. It can be made out of any fabric, but I would recommend something that is wrinkle resistant. It can be dressed down to a shepherd. It can be, you can make a king out of it, depending on the type of fabric that you use. This particular costume is very similar to the one that Bev showed you at the beginning, where you make a type of T. If you look at this, you can see a T. You simply take a piece of fabric, take the width of that fabric, and cut out enough fabric to make a longer sleeve. The first one was a short sleeve. If you want a longer sleeve, which will go with a coat that I'll show you in a moment, you'll take a bigger swatch of fabric out of the side. That piece of fabric then can be turned into a belt that will go around this costume. And when you do that, the neat part about the belt is you can take a longer costume, fluff this up, and make it shorter so that it will fit the actor.
So it's better to have longer costumes
Yes.
than that you can pull up a bit and it
Yes.
still fits.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes wonderful
exactly.
sense.
And we can try this on Ethan, and hopefully it will be a little bit long on him, and we can belt it up so that it will fit him and it won't be dragging on the floor.
Okay.
Now, if you have a royal, like a priest or a wise man or something, you'll want it longer. On a shepherd, you want it shorter.
Okay.
Okay. This, then, would be the belt that would go around it, and of course it can be any fabric that you want. It can be the self fabric that this particular costume was made out of. It doesn't matter. Then this will be the coat, if you will, that will go over the under costume. And that is very simple. You take the width of the fabric, you can seam the side, leaving an opening for the sleeve. Take both of these when you're making them and simply double the fabric over. So you're not having to cut two pieces and make shoulder seams. In this particular one, there is a shoulder seam, but it is not necessary to do that. The fold would be up here, the side seam would be right here. And as you can see, this will fit any size child. Make it longer if you want it for an adult. Then you take this belt and tie it around on the side, in the back, doesn't matter. Now, if this was a longer costume, you can take this and pull it up and fluff it like that so that he has room to walk. Then you'll take the coat, and this works best if you have a longer sleeved costume, and simply drape it over the top. You can make a dressy outfit out of this, as I said before, a royal priest or a wise man or a king, simply by changing fabric to velvet or velveteen or velour. Dress it down for a shepherd by using double knits or cottons or broadcloth, something like that. But something that is wrinkle resistant, I think, is probably preferable, unless you like to iron.
And the belts are so simple. Would you ever use the belt on the outside of the coat, or does that make any difference?
You can do both. You
Okay.
could do either.
And there you have it. Ethan, what do you think? Good, fantastic.
Quick and easy.
It's comfy and it's simple,
Way
and
to
that's
go.
what we're looking for. One last garment that would be helpful, and that is a long sleeve Bible costume. Is there a simple way you can do that, Arlene?
There really is. It's very, very easy. You simply make oblong shapes. The measurements are discretionary.
Okay.
I used 15 by 50 on the fold of the fabric for the body of the garment, and then 26 by 23 for the sleeve, which is written in the instructions.
Okay.
Those are very arbitrary figures and can be used only if that garment fits the
So you can
actor.
adjust it however size you want.
Absolutely, but
These are arbitrary, but proportionate is going to kind of make sense.
exactly.
All right.
For the purpose of this particular garment, I mean, we had to select some dimensions. So this is the finished garment. These are the set-in sleeves right here. The good part about this is you can use fabric that's 45 inches wide, 36 inches wide, and you'll still come up with a garment as large as this. The other garments that we showed you earlier were restricted by the size or the width of the fabric.
I
So
see.
that's why
Sure.
this is such a neat pattern. So
Kind of like this
this
fabric.
is very, very stretchy.
For me,
Yeah.
after Christmas.
Yes, yes, but we belt it, you
Okay.
see, with this, and it will get
Ah.
smaller
I see.
with the belt, and it looks a lot better.
Yeah, New Year's Day and working out. Okay.
Give it some dimension, exactly.
Also, I
So,
imagine then that once you've made this, if you needed to and you wanted to cut it this way, you could make that kind of open garment. And
Into
still
a
have your
coat.
into a coat. Okay, wonderful.
Exactly.
How do you?
Very versatile.
How do you make it?
Well, this is how you make it. First of all, you can use patterns if you like. Just take some paper like this, and this is the sleeve. It's 26 inches this way, 23 this way. And you lay that on your fabric just like it is. Now, if your fabric is not wide enough, you'll have to shift the pattern to fit the width of the fabric. That's the sleeve. Now this is the body. You can take any kind, you can take newspaper, just tape it
Okay.
together. It doesn't matter what kind of paper. I think this is freezer paper, but you can take any paper that you want. As you can see, there's straight lines. There are no curves, nothing that you have to match, no notches, just a plain rectangle. This I made just a small sample of the costume that will eventually grow into the big one.
Into Big Daddy right
So,
here.
yes, exactly. So we'll pretend that this is the larger costume.
All right.
This is the front.
This is for like a 2-foot person. Is that right?
A small child.
Okay, oh, all right, all
A
right.
very small child. So you would take these two pieces, putting right sides together, like so. And on the larger costume, I sewed in 10.5 inches using a 1/2 inch seam. So we're just going to assume that these straight pins are the seam. And the nice part about this is it's a double knit, and you can use anything. I think the original pattern maker of this used
I
a
see.
sheet. But you now
It's that
have,
simple.
this is now combined. It's one piece, and here is the neck opening.
Okay, so there's your seam.
And the 1/2 inch seam allowance will turn under
Okay.
almost automatically if it's a double knit.
Okay.
Turns under
Oh, I
real
knew that.
easily.
I knew that.
I knew you did. Now this is the sleeve. So we fold the sleeve in half and we mark the center of it so that we can lay the sleeve then on our costume, and we will sew that in place like this. Okay.
I see.
On the original sleeve, what I did was I made sure that the edge of the sleeve was on the selvage. Now, the selvage is the edge of the fabric that is finished by the factory, so that it needs absolutely no hemming, nothing to do. So we now have, what we have is a sleeve in here
I see.
that looks like this.
Oh, I see. And now this sleeve would be as long as you wanted it.
As long as you want,
Right.
yes, exactly. This, of course, is the little guy.
As a little guy. Yeah.
Yes. This is now a seam. Right here is a seam.
All right.
All right. Now, still always right sides together. We fold that
Always.
over. And
Oh,
we pin this together
yeah.
so that we now have kind of an L shape here.
This thing is working.
Yes.
It works for
works.
me.
Well, good, good.
Yeah.
So what we do is we seam this. Starting here, we seam this way, then you turn and you seam this way. You do the same for the other side,
Okay.
exactly the same.
Exactly.
Then that's what you end up with when you're finished. You end up with a garment that looks exactly like that.
Amazing.
Now, when you have cut your body pieces, they are on the fold like this.
Okay.
There's a fold. The fabric almost always comes naturally with a fold because it's on a bolt that way.
Okay.
And because of that, you are going to have strips of extra fabric over
Okay.
there. And these strips then become
Oh, yeah.
all kinds of things. This can be a belt. I sewed 2 of those together and came up with something very long like this. It can be put around. You can tie it twice if it's too long, and then you have more of a cummerbund kind of thing like that. Or it can be used almost as a turban, where they wrap it and wrap it and wrap it around your head, and just tuck the ends under. So there are all kinds of different things that you can do with these.
Latest fashion in case you're going to a wedding in Canaan.
The best
I can
dressed
see it
shepherd
happen
in
right now.
town.
Oh, shepherd, yes, okay. Fit to meet the king. Here we go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as I said, patterns are nice if you have paper available. Perhaps some don't have paper that size. If you have something to measure with, simply put your pattern piece on the fabric, measure out, and then just mark how far that is, like that, and then just cut along those pins. So you really can get along without a paper pattern.
Okay. Arlene, fantastic. Thank you very, very much. I think this would make a nice nightie too, you know.
Well, it wouldn't. Yes, it would. But if these sleeves are too long and you find out that you don't want to cut them off, just roll those up like that and put a tack in it so that the actor isn't having trouble with it rolling down. And so there are all kinds of things. It's only limited by your imagination.
Thank you, Arlene.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And the word is simple. Make them simple and use them in ways that make the Bible come alive. It's not a complicated process. It takes imagination and just a little bit of sewing. Okay, thank you.